necessarily. It doesn't follow logically.
I got you. So
it doesn't. I know you got to learn because you don't know.
So
you don't know what actually follows and what doesn't.
So you're saying that it works.
So GodLogic versus Jake, the Muslim metaphysician. Now, as you guys know, I'm not really into textual criticism. I don't post really any of that on this channel. I probably should a little bit more. But I really focus on philosophy. And right now I'm reading a lot of logic. Before I was reading a lot of continental philosophy. But I watched this and I was surprised because really I used to think about GodLogic really as kind of like not that well educated in terms of what he studies and using kind of bad arguments. But I was really surprised by this debate. I think he absolutely cooked Jake in this debate. And particularly, there is one clip that I want to show you guys where it kind of integrates both. It shows that Jake has no clue about anything about logic, which should be surprising to a lot of you Muslims because I know one of the main reasons he got popular is because of his studies in logic or the logical problem of the Trinity. And he fails to grasp a very basic inference rule here. And now he asks logic to name the inference rule in the argument. And of course, logic doesn't study logic, formally speaking. So he's not going to be able to name it on the spot, but he was actually correct. And so there's either two options. Either Jake is being dishonest, which I think is entirely plausible given this whole debate and everything else I've seen about him and seen him debate before. Or he's just ignorant of it, which I think is also plausible because even though he's said to have studied logic, he doesn't seem to know it very well. So I'll play this clip for you guys really quickly.
All right, thank you. So you said yes, that if Muhammad goes and checks with these people and he sees that what he's receiving in the Quran lines up with what they've been reading in their books, then he'll know that what the Quran is saying is true. So this means that the opposite is true as well, right? That if he goes to them and he sees that what he's doubting is not in line with what they have, then he'll know that what he is receiving is not the truth, correct?
Give me the inference rule for that.
So can you answer the question?
No, not necessarily. It doesn't follow logically.
I got you. So
it doesn't. I know you got to learn because you don't know. You don't know what actually follows and what doesn't.
So you're saying that it works one way, but
so as you guys can see, the form of the argument goes like this: if the Quran is true, the people of the book will confirm it. The people of the book don't confirm it, therefore the Quran is not true. That's modus tollens. He was asking about the inference rule. That is a valid inference rule, and it's kind of clear to me that Jake really didn't know that, but I think it's also plausible, as I said, that he is just being dishonest, because to me, from what I've seen, he's always being dishonest. But the debate really hinged on that one proposition. Are the people of the book confirming it? Well, Jake seems to imply they're not for the entirety of the debate, but he never really explicitly says that from what I've seen. But if they don't confirm it, but he just agreed with that conditional, if the Quran is true, the people of the book will confirm it, then it will follow that if they don't confirm it as true, then the Quran is false. And so I think that just goes to show the level of understanding Jake is at. Another thing that's interesting in this debate is that Jake is constantly flipping between abrogation and corruption. And he uses confirmation, or new prophets coming to confirm the old, as the prophets simultaneously coming to abrogate and coming to say that things are corrupt. Now, that's fine if you want to separate the two. But I think the main point in this is that he never really does. He kind of mixes them together, and then GodLogic is doing a lot of work trying to pull them apart, especially at the section at which Jake is trying to run the argument about the jizya. GodLogic does a beautiful job at pulling them apart, and Jake is constantly equivocating between the two, corruption and abrogation, because as you guys will see, he's heavily implying, and I think this is the sort of dishonesty on Jake's part, is that he doesn't want to explicitly give yes or no answer yes or no to yes or no questions that are actually very clear. And I'm not a big fan of yes or no questions because a lot of the time they load stuff in there. But I think GodLogic's questions were incredibly clear. And if he's asking you, does abrogation mean corruption? And you say no, but you've been implying that things are going to be abrogated, therefore the previous scriptures cannot be trusted, I think that is an issue on its own. So this really caught me off guard, and I really enjoyed this debate, and I look forward to seeing GodLogic's debates in the future now, because this argument really convinced me now. And maybe it was the more formal aspect to it, the if P then Q, not Q, therefore not P. But it's kind of embarrassing. I mean, your entire career is built upon being this guy who is supposed to know logic, who Muslims, if they want to, refute the LPT logically, or they want to refute the incarnation logically, that this is the guy you go to for your logic. And he couldn't grasp a basic inference rule. And so I think the benefit of the doubt would just be saying he's being dishonest, but even giving him the benefit of the doubt is a negative thing in this case. And I think on top of that, as a sort of secondary point, it's been kind of downhill for Jake ever since he started that drama. And I know I don't like to speak about all of that stuff, drama and whatever on this channel, but ever since that point, it's kind of been downhill for him. I mean, he's been trying to dabble in textual criticism, and he's just been embarrassing himself. And so I think he should go back to logic and start studying more of that, because I think he had a bigger impact when he was doing that. He wasn't embarrassing himself as much, and really his channel has kind of turned into a drama channel. So it's kind of, I wish he would just stick to philosophy. I wish he would have just stuck to what he's good at, instead of going, well, I want to say what he's good at in terms of like what he was most known for, because I don't think he's really that good at anything in terms of debating. But respectfully,